This just in, a revealing new interview with really the most powerful person in President Trump's White House beyond him. Chief of Staff Susie Wiles commenting and going there on a wide range of topics, it seems, with Vanity Fair in a new series of interviews, from the handling of the Epstein investigation to her assessment of the big names on Donald Trump's team. Let's get to CNN's Elena Treen, who is at the White House. There seems to be a lot in there, Elena. What is your big takeaway?
I mean, look, I've covered the president, and I've also covered Susie Wiles for years now, Kate, and this is one of the most candid interviews and stories that she's offered really from the entire time I've done that. This is incredibly candid, some of the things that she was admitting, because I will tell you too, Wiles is someone who often likes to operate kind of in the shadows and quietly. She doesn't like to draw attention to herself, and that's why I think some of what people are waking up and reading this morning is so stunning to hear about. But let me get into some of the main things that I found very notable from what Chris Whipple, who works with Vanity Fair, detailed from their conversations. One is that Wiles referred to President Trump as someone having a, quote, alcoholic personality. She also talked a lot about the vice president, J.D. Vance, someone who I should note, had this conversion that Whipple noted as well from never Trumper to a MAGA acolyte. Susie Wiles essentially said that change, that conversion has been, quote, sort of political. And she said the vice president has been a, quote, conspiracy theorist for a decade. She also talked about Russell Vought. He is the White House budget chief, but he's also, of course, one of the architects of that notorious Project 2025 conservative blueprint for the future of the Republican Party, something that Trump had previously, of course, disavowed. She argued that Vought is, quote, a right-wing absolute zealot. And then she also went into a number of different things. One, she talked about Pam Bondi, the attorney general, someone who is one of her closest friends, I should note, in this administration. She argued that Bondi, quote, completely whiffed the handling of the Epstein file. She also talked about how the president, who came in and offered a series of pardons to really roughly 1,000 people who were convicted for their crimes on January 6th, she essentially admitted that she had urged the president not to pardon those who had committed violent crimes on January 6th and on the Capitol attack. She also talked about how she disagreed with him sometimes when it came to tariffs, saying that she had urged him to delay some of the tariffs that he ultimately announced. And it goes on. There's a lot of other areas where she kind of talks about kind of disagreeing with him, but also ultimately her role is as a facilitator rather than, past White House chiefs that we've seen, notably people like John Kelly during the president's first administration, who at times tried to hold him back. She sees as her job trying to kind of shape what he does, but also not preventing him from doing what he wants to do. One very notable quote as well that stuck out to me, just given the context of what's very much in the news right now, is Venezuela. She admitted publicly that one of the goals of this administration and the president is actually to see regime change in Venezuela and oust Nicolas Maduro. I should note that is not what the White House line has been on this. The White House line has been that this is all about trying to crack down on narco terrorists and illegal drug trafficking. She essentially said this on Venezuela. She said, quote, he wants to keep on blowing boats up until Maduro cries uncle. And people way smarter than me on that say that he will. Again, a major contradiction in what we've heard from the White House on all of this. And the last thing I just want to quickly point you to, there's a lot in this. I do encourage our audience to actually go and read these very lengthy and detailed articles from Vanity Fair. But she talked about retribution, and she said that she had some sort of agreement with the president that she didn't want him to be focused on score settling, that she was going to give him 90 days and then he kind of had to move on from it. But she also acknowledged that some of the recent indictments we've seen against some of the president's political foes, people like the former FBI Director James Comey or the New York Attorney General Letitia James, both people who we've seen this Trump administration now bring indictments against. She admitted that, yeah, that kind of is political. She said the Letitia James indictment specifically, she said that one you could call retribution. And so incredible stuff in here from Wiles, who, again, one of the most powerful people, if not the most powerful person in this White House, apart from Trump, being very, very candid in this interview, Kate.
A lot more to come. Elena Treen, thank you so much. Important that you're hearing publicly, really for the first time, someone as high up as Susie Wiles saying that the point is to get Maduro out, not just stop drug trafficking from the nation. This is an important development. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on.
You know, it's interesting. President Trump's White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, I assume you've met her, you know her. She told Vanity Fair in a newly released interview that her boss, quote, we're talking about the president, quoting her, has an alcoholic's personality, governing with a, quote, view that there's nothing he can't do. President Trump famously does not drink, and Wiles herself grew up with an alcoholic father. Wiles is now calling this a hit piece. How do you respond to that long interview she gave to Vanity Fair?
I didn't see that clip. I saw some other ones about Ukraine that she said about the president. Again, I think it's helpful. If we come back and say, Mr. President, we disagree, he could have had a much better tariff policy if he would have come to the Congress. There's some tariffs I would have supported. But, you know, tariffs against 80 countries, for example.
And it's really hurting agriculture in Nebraska in your state.
And so he would be better off if more people spoke up, gave him honest feedback, and it would stop him from doing some of the most the zany things out there that he does. And those comments on Mr. Reiner, they were just ugly. Terrible. And we're better than that. And okay, I expect it from some people, normally at a bar or something, you know, but not the President of the United States, right? We expect better.
But how hard is it for a Republican to speak the truth, push back against Trump, and actually stay in office and not be primaried and not be, you know, the subject of the MAGA machine online? And I mean,
well, I've had 4 primaries, and the last 2 times from the right. I mean, there was a lot of focus. I wasn't loyal enough to Trump. I would have probably not run again earlier because there's other things I want to do in life. But I wanted to prove a point in our district that the majority supports common sense, decency, Reagan conservatism. And so I stayed in an extra run or 2 just to prove I don't know what you want to call them, the far right or the Trump loyalists that he can do no wrong, you know, that crowd. And I wanted to run just to prove a point that the majority want decency and more of a Reagan Republican ideology. And so 5 times was enough.
You're ready.
I'm ready for doing something else.
All right. Well, thank you for all of your service. Congressman Don Bacon,
Thank you
so much.
Appreciate it very, very much.